They always had the same spot, so we changed things around. Yeah, double check.
Yeah, she's coming. There was some mix-up about the time.
Oh.
Because at City Council the other night, Shane announced a different time.
Oh.
So. But we're going to.
That messed up your concentration.
We're going to start.
I think I just heard she said
So.
Okay. It doesn't get any better, does it? Get any better than this? I'm going to do it myself.
See, I'm a member of the Women's League. Should I declare that or just?
You don't need to. No. Oh, there's Linda. Okay. Linda, I think we ought to go ahead and start, and you can do your part. Yeah.
I would have caught it, but
But
she is on her way.
you told her though that you could do yours.
Yes, and I'm going to do my little tuck for a little bit, and then she's on oxygen. I don't know how fast she can walk.
And that's okay. But I don't want to delay.
That's fine. I totally understand. But I mean, like I said, it was totally our fault.
I left my phone in the car. They're smart.
Okay, so we can go ahead and start. Everything's ready to go. Welcome, everybody. I'm Judy Schoenemeyer. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters, and I'm going to moderate this forum tonight. One of the candidates is coming. She's not here yet. There was some mix-up with the time because apparently a city council meeting the other night, the time was announced as different from what it actually is. So Linda's going to talk for a few minutes about voting procedures and the election process and everything. And maybe by that time, Sue Betts will be here. Before we begin, I want to say thank you to the city for letting us use this wonderful facility, to Karen Sheik, the mayor, who I think is out there helping, but she helped arrange everything, and then Linda did a lot of the detailed work. And Linda Smith is the city clerk, in case you don't know who she is. She's a person who has many responsibilities, one of which is city elections. So Linda, why don't you tell everyone about when and where to vote? Have you all received your ballots yet? How many of you have received them? Most people have. They were mailed, I think, Monday, and I know we got ours yesterday, so. All right, Linda.
Yes, what we request from each of you, you can mail your ballots back to the city the Wednesday before the election. I'm not really positive, I think it's March 28th. If you mail them after that date on Thursday, they're not guaranteed to get back to us because most everybody's mail, we know, goes to Albuquerque and then it comes here. So the chances are 50-50 they'll make them back by April 3rd, which is election day. We'll be open here at City Hall on election day, April 3rd from 7 to 7. You're welcome to bring your ballots in. We have a box sitting right at the very front of City Hall. You just drop it in. There's little stickers for you to take that say you voted. That's the best way to do it, but of course, again, you can mail them back to us and we'll do our best. The post office is going to help us on election day, gather as many that come in until 7 that evening. I was just going to talk about how many seats we have open. You can vote for at least 5 candidates. You don't have to vote for 5, but you can vote for 5 if you choose. There are 3 seats that will receive 4-year terms. Those are the highest vote getters will receive 4-year terms, and then the other 2 will receive 2-year terms. With the loss of our council member Tim Miller, it gave 5 seats on our city council this year. So I was also going to talk about people that are registered to vote. If you're out talking to people and they're not registered, they have to go to the county clerk. We can't register people here at City Hall. So they have to go to the county clerk. They can call and speak with her and she can help them that way, or they can they can go over to the county office where you get your tags. Most people know where that building is. She will register people up to election day. So people can register to that day, and they can get a ballot that day. We were going to also just inform you of when the city council will take their oath of office. The 5 members that are elected will take their oath of office on Tuesday, April 24th. We have a meeting in between the election, that's the regular city council now serving, and then the new city council will take their oaths of office that night. We will also have a really nice goodbye time for Bob and Shauna, and we hope Orly and Jill remain, but we do have a goodbye ceremony for the 2 that are leaving for sure, which is Bob and Shauna McLaughlin, Bob Archibald. So if any of you want to come that night, watch these guys get sworn in, and say goodbye to 2 of our council members now serving, we welcome you to come that night. Be a reception for everybody in the community. So I think those were the main topics. And I see she's still not here, so I guess.
Question?
Yes.
For someone that registers between now and April 3rd at the courthouse, would they need to come here to pick up the ballot?
They would need to do that.
Okay,
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, right.
Because the county clerk does not have the ballots. We have the extra ballots here. That is a good question, Lance. So yes, you have to go there to register, but then they will call us to let you know that you have, because we won't just issue a ballot to you, but then the ballots would be issued. And if someone, we had someone come today that voted, they had made a mistake, they voted for 6, we have replacement ballots here. So if you find that you've made a mistake, we can replace your ballot, and, we just can do that with the paperwork here, so. And the county will send you here if you go over there with your ballot, so they're sending you back here. I know that's confusing, but yeah, they have to come to City Hall.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Linda. One thing you need to know, if you make a mistake and you mess up your ballot, you need to get a new ballot, because we've seen how the machinery works at the courthouse, and if your ballot's messed up, the vote won't count. So let people know that if they make a mistake, they can get a new ballot and go from there. I had just a few things. Those of you who came in the front, I think, noticed that there's some things out there. There's an information table, and then there's a separate table that has candidate information, if any candidates have information. On that table, if anybody wants it, is a candidate list, and we've provided that since we have so many candidates. We're fortunate to have so many candidates, so that you could make notes if you want to, or just take it home with you and try to remember who said what. That might make a difference to you. There's also voter information for 2018, all the elections, and voter registration information. So if you'd like to have that, or you know somebody who might want it, please help yourself to that. And if anybody's interested in becoming a member, we have some membership forms out there. Let me just say a few words about the League of Women Voters. Some of you know this and some of you don't. The League of Women Voters has been around for 98 years. And it was organized right before women's suffrage amendment passed. And it was organized because there were many people in the country who said women didn't know enough to vote. They didn't know anything about government. They weren't smart enough. So the women who were involved in the women's suffrage movement organized the League of Women Voters for the purpose of being sure that women were understanding what government was about, and that they were very well informed when they went to vote. It's no longer for women. In fact, our local league has about a quarter of our members are men. And we are eager to have anyone join us, especially in an election year. We care very much about voter rights, educating people about issues. We take a stand on some issues after we've studied them, sometimes studied them to death. And only if there's a consensus. If we could study something for a year or two, and if the members can't come to a consensus on what position we should take, we don't take a position. We're a political organization, but we're nonpartisan. We never, as an organization, support candidates. Our individual members support candidates and may support issues, but if the league hasn't studied an issue, we're not going to take a position on it, and we're never going to support a candidate. We want to make information available so that people know what they're voting about and know about the candidates. So we're very happy you're all here tonight to do that with us. We still are missing a candidate. Oh, she's here. Okay. All right. We'll wait and let her get in then. Oh, yes. If you didn't get a pen and a card, if you want to ask a question, Karen has some and would be happy to pass them out if you raise your hand. Okay. Let's give Sue a minute to...
Karen, there was a gal over here that raised her hand back by the wall.
Let me say this too. In the time we have available, which we will go till 8:30, perhaps just a little bit after, but we don't want to go beyond that too much because it is a work night for a lot of people. And there may not be time for all the questions. Usually that's the case. Please don't be offended if your question doesn't get asked. But I believe all the candidates are willing to stay after, and you can approach them and ask them the questions you want to ask. So if your question doesn't get asked, please feel free to stay and talk to the candidates about whatever the issue is. And our rules are such that we're part of a state and a national organization, and the league has rules about forums, and all the questions have to be in writing. And we have time limits. And we have a timer who's sitting right there, Jack. And Eleanor is, for all of you candidates, Eleanor will let you know when you have 30 seconds left, when you have 15 seconds left, and when she holds that up, it's an emergency vehicle and you know it means stop. Oh. Yeah, if you don't stop, she might swat you with it, so be careful. Sue, we're glad you're here. I'm sorry there was a mix-up about the time.
Thank you.
What we're going to do now is start at the end, and what I'm going to do first is ask each candidate, and the reason you have no paper is so you can take notes, so you remember what the question is. The first one's the most detailed. Please introduce yourself. Tell us about your work experience, your community involvement, how long you've lived in this area, and what skills you bring to City Council. And I think we'll start at my far right, at the end.
Okay.
And then after that, the next question will go to Orly, and we'll keep moving, and then we'll rotate. Does anybody have any questions about what we're going to do? Okay, I'll let you start.
Okay, great. My name is Jonathan Walker. Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this. It is a real honor to be here tonight with these other candidates, so it feels great to be here. About me, I moved to Cortez 2001 from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I worked in the elections department for the El Paso County Clerk and Recorder's Office there. moved here to work as an archaeologist for the National Park Service. Worked as an archaeologist as well on the contract side in the oil and gas industry, working on well pads and pipelines. So I've seen the importance of both the Park Service and oil and gas for a community like Cortez. Let's see, skills that I have. I had attended Colorado State University to study construction management with an emphasis in sustainability. Learned a lot about project management and trying to incorporate sustainability into everyday life. Community involvement here in Cortez. I've been volunteering a lot at KSJD in the Sunflower Theater, working as an usher there. Let me see. Let's see. I decided to run for city council at the urging of my friends and neighbors. Other people who share a vision for Cortez and what we want to see. And decided to do it because I think that Cortez has a lot of potential and want to be a part of helping us reach that potential. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you. I think I forgot to announce that this first question they have 2 minutes for. Everything else they only have a minute, so the timekeeper will let them know when time's passing. Orly?
Hi.
You talking in class?
No, here. No. My name is Orly Lacedo. I lived in this community going on 29 years. I'm a senior engineer and technician for Empire Electric, and my involvement in the community, I've served in the last 4 years in council. I've served in the past. I've served on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I also serve on the Hospice Board and the Renew Board. With the experience I have, I think budget-wise and everything, I'm kind of familiar with the budget the city has right now. And in the future, the reason I'm here for is I'm the voice for the community. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Sue?
Hi, my name is Sue Betts. I've lived in Cortez since 1983, at which time I went to work for the Cortez Police Department. During that period of time, I learned a lot about Cortez. The people, the problems, the things that most people don't see every day. I actually got to see. I ran for city council because I really feel like I could make a difference. I went through several councils through the 29 years that I worked. And I'll tell you, some of them were really bad. Some of them have been pretty good. But I did find, with a bad haircut, it takes about 3 weeks to grow it out to where it's reasonable. A bad city councilman, 4 years. So that's what you have to do. And, I can't make any promises or say I have the answers to everything. I'm just willing to learn, and I'd love to listen to anybody who wants to talk to me. Thank you.
Mike?
Good evening. I'm Mike Levy. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this, and the City of Cortez, and everyone in the audience from Cortez and Montezuma County, and the people watching on TV. Like I say, my name is Mike Levy. I've been a resident of Cortez for about 30 years. I was a letter carrier in town for 14 years, and I retired from the USPS, and I worked for the county as a driver for the Montezuma County Public Transportation for another 8 years. So I pretty much know the city and county. I'm a Navy veteran. I was in during the early 60s when the Cuban Missile Crisis was going on, and my ship was part of the blockade around Cuba. I have 2 kids and a wife. My wife worked for the Montezuma, or RE1 school district for 22 years, and we're both retired. I have 2 kids, and all of them went through the public school system through RE1. Let's see, in terms of work experience in involvement, I was a mentor with the Partners of Montezuma County, a hospice volunteer for over a decade, a member of the Sheriff's Posse, a special deputy with the Sheriff's Department, and I did jail ministry at the Montezuma County Detention Center. I'm currently on the board for the Rec Advisory Board, Good Samaritan Pantry Board, Mancus Church Trustee, Historical Society, American Legion, many others. I have visions of Cortez as a city councilor, economic development, infrastructure, and quality of life for residents. My hope is to share these visions with all of you. Thank you very much.
Just made it. Jeff?
Good evening. My name is Jeff Byerly. I'd like to thank also the League of Women Voters, the City of Cortez, for hosting this event. It's an honor to be considered for this position. I came to Cortez in 1996, teach French at the Cortez Middle School. I've been here 20 years now, 22 years working in education. I started in secondary ed. I know side of traditional education. I've also got some experience with the experiential world of education at Southwest Open School. I moved into early childhood when my 2 boys came into the world. I have a son, Jackson, who's 16 now at MCHS. My son, Benjamin, is at CMS. I think having them in the world, I want to be a model of them, of what healthy engagement looks like in the community. So that's part of the motivation for me. Some of my work experience, I've got a Montessori early childhood credential along with my certification in teaching. I did some coaching at the Montelores Early Childhood Council, so I'm familiar with the workings of the preschools. I have a strong appreciation for the work that teachers are doing in the community, and I would like to bring that perspective to every citizen of our community, as important as it needs to be in our decision making. Community involvement for me looks like working with the Family Leadership Training Institute, FLTI, through the Montelores Early Childhood Council, and currently involved in Montezuma, or Leadership Montezuma. Being at Pinion Project currently sees me understanding the community very well as well. So I'd like to bring that perspective in service to the community. Thank you.
Jill.
Hi, I'm Jill Carlson. I'm actually, this is the end of my 2nd year on the council. I am rerunning. I am a local. I was born here at Southwest Memorial. My family lives here still. After I graduated from law school, I returned here and opened a practice. I do primarily family law. I also do mediation and child and family investigation. Prior to being an attorney, I worked for Mountain Casino as a marketing manager, and I also got my bachelor's from Fort Lewis in education and was a teacher in Las Vegas for a while. But I like the law. That is my thing. And so I've enjoyed being on council because I actually have always enjoyed politics. I've always enjoyed government. And I saw the need for, we're in a transitory period. It's time for the younger generations to start stepping up. That's why I ran last year, to sort of entice others to get actively involved in our governmental system, because complacency doesn't work. We have to be actively involved. As far as the things I'm involved with here in the community, I'm on the Access to Justice Commission for the 22nd Judicial District. I also produce the Four Corners Comedy Festival, and I do a number of performing arts events. I'm very passionate about music and theater, and I do a lot of stuff with the high school kids because they're awesome and great, and I love them, and so it's a lot of fun. As far as moving forward, I think Cortez has an opportunity to really expand and grow with the development of the fiber rolling out. It's going to entice new businesses area. We have to continue moving forward. We have to be progressive, or We will not survive with Durango competing against us. Our tourism is very important, and also I am very encouraged with the developments with the bridge shelter. I think that's going to really help some of our less fortunate citizens. So, thank you.
You're up.
All right. Thank you all for coming here tonight, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting this on. My name is Gary Noyes. I was born and raised here in Cortez. Shortly after graduating from MCHS, I got a job with Nielsen's Construction and went to Denver. After that job was over, I stayed in Denver for about 10 years, but was able to move back home to Cortez. Not long after that, my current wife, she was my girlfriend then, moved back to Cortez as well. We got married, started our family. I say thank you to everybody coming here because you could easily have been anywhere else tonight, okay? But getting involved in your community and your town is something that is very important and that we all should take an opportunity to do. In our community, I like to do like the softball league. Evening in her shoes for wings, Kiwanis polar plunge, do my daughter's, watchdog dads at my daughter's school, things like that, assistant t-ball coach. And I think that now it's time to get involved in that aspect of Cortez. And, we can either sit on the couch and sit back idly by, or we can get involved and have a say-so in what happens in our community and our town. My wife and I both have a lot of family and friends that live here. And, we got some rental properties here. We got our daughter that's in 2nd grade. So we're committed to the community for the long haul. We've been here about 30 years, and we're going to be here for quite a while longer. So, I'd like to sit up here and tell you all the boards that I'm on and all the committees that I'm on and all of that, but I can't. All right? It all starts right here. And I think I want to make Cortez a town that people can say, I'm from Cortez, and I'm proud of it. They can say it with pride. And so my name is Gary Noyes, and that's why I'm running for City Council.
Thank you. Lance?
Good evening. I would also like to thank the League of Women Voters in the City of Phoenix and all of you, City of Phoenix, City of Cortez, all of you people for showing up and the candidates for showing up as well. I'm a second generation Cortesian. My parents moved here in 1960. I'm a proud graduate of the public schools of the District RE1 system. I went to Downey, the Cortez Junior High when it was a junior high, and graduated from Montezuma Cortez High School in 1974. I retired 2 years ago, and it took me a couple months of soul searching to decide what I wanted to do after I retired, and I decided that I wanted to work and help victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. So I took classes, and I'm a volunteer at Renew Wings. I'm also the only male advocate they've ever had. And I, after being there since December, I've decided I made the right decision with that. I've also been very involved in the public school system. I was a huge supporter of 3B. I worked and put out signs and wrote letters and knocked on people's doors and begged them to vote yes on 3B so that we could pay our teachers and have school buses that were adequate. And then my last decision was I wanted to be a part of helping Cortez grow. Cortez is following a great game plan that was laid out by the Heart and Soul Committee back in 2014, and I'd like to continue that process. I'm very, very much in support of the broadband, and my goal on the council would be to make sure that we have broadband in our homes before Rick Smith retires. So, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is going to be very simple. I don't think you'll have to take notes. And Orly, we're going to start with you. What would you like to accomplish if you were elected? You haven't been elected yet, so it won't happen today or tomorrow.
Things I'd like to continue accomplishing is keeping our streets maintained, updating our water lines, and budgeting water lines and infrastructure. Also, and then also would like to see the continuation of the rec center continuation on that ballot that's going on it too. But there's also another thing I'd like to say too, is to listen to the community, what they would like to see. There's a lot of people are in a set budget, and that's why I like to keep the rates as a reasonable price on that, so, thank you.
Sue, what would you like to accomplish if you're elected?
I would like to see some additional low-income housing and elderly housing brought into this community because we're definitely behind on it. I'd like to see some help somehow with some substance abuse because we definitely have a problem with it. I'd also like to try and find something to help some of our problem children in this area. Many years I burned up the highway running back and forth between Durango and here or up to Grand Junction and back because we have nowhere to put a troubled child. And I also agree that the water lines and the roads and everything, they have to be kept up. We have to maintain them. And I've got lots more, but we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Mike?
Thank you. Like I referred to earlier in my introduction, economic development is one of the most important things in this area. We have to attract new businesses, and we have to keep the existing businesses and support them. We've had so many good companies come into Cortez and stay here. I talked to the IT person at Osprey the other day, and he said that if it wasn't for the fiber optic high-speed broadband, Osprey wouldn't be here now. They'd be somewhere else. So that's one of the things I want to keep is broadband internet. Another thing is the infrastructure of the city, the streets, sidewalks. Sidewalks need work. And another thing is the residents would like to keep things safe for the children and senior citizens and the playgrounds and hospitals. Thank you.
Jeff, what would you like to accomplish?
I think Sue's mentioning the importance of affordable housing is a critical issue. And along those lines, I'd like to begin to support a conversation about what we do with those families that are struggling with housing that have children. We send many of those families to Durango. It's quite an inconvenience for them. The issue about broadband is a serious one. I think the case of Osprey being here, it's only going to be by providing appropriate infrastructure that businesses will consider coming in this direction. And I'm really wanting to encourage and see the leadership from within government, within Cortez City. I want to support their being able to bring their concerns forward as much as possible. So I want to be an ear for the concerned citizens.
One thing that's very brief is it's been brought to the council's attention in the past that there's some issues with accessibility to buildings. I think it's imperative that we start working on repairing alleys and sidewalks that maybe need some attention. Aside from that, another thing that I think is very important is we are poised really with the development of the monuments and the establishment of those things to really continue to foster and expand our tourism. It is a boon to our community. I would like to identify areas that we can improve that and work with partnerships and agencies to continue to draw people to our area because it's a beautiful area and we have a lot to offer here.
Gary?
I agree with a lot of that everybody said. I think that first and foremost we need to take care of our people and our infrastructure, including the water and the things like that. If you take care of your people and your town, it will take care of you. And we also need to look at the drug situation. I think it's kind of out of hand, out of control. Not out of control, but it's pretty bad. We'll leave it at that. I do agree also that we need to bring some tourism to this town. The geography of Cortez is great. We got 10 minutes to the desert. We got 10 minutes to the lakes. McPhee is the second largest lake in Colorado. So we should take advantage of what we can, what we have here that's given to us. You know, I think that's it. And once we do that, you know, get everything squared away on that end and start getting businesses here. You know, if it needs to be, work with the city somehow, whatever it is, to get businesses to want to come here and then stay here.
Lance?
I'm all about community involvement. I agree with the infrastructure and the broadband, but to me, we need communication, and we need to reach out to the public. We need to listen to the public. We need to communicate with the other boards and districts in the area, with with the MCDEA. We need to communicate with the Chamber of Commerce. We need to work with Mancos and Dolores in expanding tourism. We need to become a stop, spend, and stay community. We need people to stop in Cortez, frequent our businesses. We need them to stay here overnight. We need to become the attraction and keep them from going to Durango, basically. But it's all about communication, reaching out and talking to the people, listening to the people, not talking with the people, listening to the people, and bringing their ideas back to the council and communicating what the public wants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's see. Affordable housing was a key interest of mine in going to Colorado State University. I live on the lower end of the economic spectrum, and I see a huge need for that. And with that comes improving the economy, something I think is very important to Cortez if we want to keep this town thriving. And one thing that I see walking around downtown all the time, making Cortez much more pedestrian friendly is something that I think is a key issue. I see families in the summer walking around and, you know, having access to the downtown businesses, I think is something, you know, if we make downtown more pedestrian friendly, people are going to spend more money there, and cash flow is going to help us all. So in brief, that's some of that. Thank you.
Okay, this question is a little more complicated. It's from the membership of the Cortez Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm going to rephrase it a little bit. The 2017-18 budget proposal by the city hires more employees. How do you see the city of Cortez funding these new jobs, maintaining its infrastructure, and sustaining jobs in the future? Orly? Or Sue, I'm sorry. Orly.
You know, I'm really not sure. I know that most of the jobs that they're opening up are your basic entry-level jobs, minimum wage. The city has always been really good about being tight with their budget so that there is money there for emergencies and things like that. So I think that I really don't believe that they would be hiring them if they didn't have a way figured out to pay them.
Mike?
Thank you. Funding employees. I talked to the fella over at Osprey, and they had an agreement with the city for this property over in the industrial center, and for every employee they hired, they get a $5,000 credit for this property. So I think we need to continue doing programs like that to encourage people and businesses to come into Cortez. And the jobs, to keep them here, we need infrastructure of internet and broadband and the fiber optic. And people can communicate with their electronic needs. They'll stay here and bring their families. And that's what we want to keep going. We want to keep going forward economically in Cortez.
Do you all want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm cold. I'm sorry, I had to go get more Phoenix.
Okay. The 2017-2018 budget proposal by the city hires more public employees. How do you see the city of Cortez funding these new jobs, maintaining its infrastructure, and sustaining jobs in the future?
My understanding recently is that Cortez is reaping the benefits of some economic growth. My understanding would be that if the need is there, there must be the means to be able to support these new positions. I want to trust the decision-making that's led us to this point. And while budgets have been managed efficiently, maybe there's still potential to look more closely at areas where funds might be made available. So we get to scrutinize all aspects of the budget to be able to support the growth and the need that our leaders are seeing. So thank you.
Jeff?
Okay. Having participated in the budget hearings and knowing what these positions are, I think that the department heads have been very sensible, and they have identified areas where a person could be needed, and they've opened those opportunities. They've restructured their positions to allow part-time people to become full-time. I think our budget is actually, I think from what I have seen, they've been very prudent. I haven't seen any sort of fiscal mismanagement, and we are operating a very healthy budget. Unlike some of our other municipalities in the state of Colorado, we're actually doing very well, and I think that is a testament to the department heads. They've done an exceptional job. That being said, as you may know, a lot of the city employees have been here for in excess of 30 years. It's time to foster new people into those positions as people retire out, and I think that will continue to help grow jobs as well as keep the budget sound.
Gary?
All right. I wasn't a part of the budget, so I don't really know all the ins and outs of it, but I would assume that if they okayed it, the money had to be there, and they must have had a plan. I mean, that's what we voted for the council to do. That was their job, and they must have done their job the right way. I don't see how they could have made a job without having the money there. But you know, I think a lot of people are wanting to capitalize on tourism in our area and things like that. So they must have seen that as well. I know they have ideas and things that are in the work that I don't know about, but I'll be glad to learn about them in the future if I'm elected. But I see if they did it, they had a reason to do it. So that's pretty much where I'm going to have to stand on that one.
Lance?
Thank you. We need to look at it as an investment in our community. And tourism is 30% of our economy. If we can grow tourism by making downtown parking more visitor friendly, maybe modifying the parking lot that we have south of the old courthouse now to accommodate some RV traffic, some tour bus traffic, to get some more people coming through town, spending their money, buying their lunches, buying their dinners, spending time here. We also need to invest in the broadband, like we've talked about several times before. 25% of the homes in this community have a home-based operated business, and that broadband will do nothing but help draw more people with clean energy, clean business, and clean money. So, thank you.
All right. Okay, well, thinking about budget costs like that, one of the ways to help to pay for increased employees, you have to reduce your operating costs, and you have to somehow increase your revenue. And to maintain infrastructure, I think you have to seek out some cooperative grants to try to help pay for roadway improvements or the sidewalk improvements downtown. And yeah, increasing revenue, we have to attract new businesses into town, and certainly one way to do that is the broadband. Without a major interstate highway or without a bigger airport, like we saw with Osprey, I mean, they had to move their distribution to Ogden, And, you know, luckily we could keep them here with that fiber network. And I do think that we have a lot of opportunity to bring new businesses into town, you know, because this is the future. Having that communication is very important. Thank you.
Yeah, the 2017-2018 budget for the new hired new employees, I agree with that because the council, the past council and the staff has worked very, very hard on this. And I'd rather see more people employed in Cortez and keep them working in the community. And that's where I like to see it. And I still think the way everything is getting budgeted, I think we can continue building up the workforce for the city.
Okay.
My turn?
Yes.
Oh, she went first.
You answered this budget question first.
Yeah.
Thank you all for keeping me straight. This is not an easy job.
Question myself.
Okay. Mike, a lot of people up here have mentioned economic development. What would you like to see in the way of economic development in the city?
Okay. I'm really concerned about economic development in the city. It's a thing that keeps us going and keeps people coming here and keeps people staying here. We need, like I said, the broadband expansion. We have a good loop of fiber optic in the city, but we need to expand that. We need to work together with the county to implement this. If the county doesn't work with us, it's going to be really hard to get this broadband in here to attract these companies. So that's one of the things we need to do. And we need to make affordable housing for the people that are moving in this area. It's expensive to buy or rent in a lot of areas in the town, so we need to make affordable housing for these people. Thank you.
The wheels are in motion on the broadband issue. There's a lot of concern. I think that just gets to happen. It's too important. I am seeing also that tourism is a big area for us to focus on. It's not necessarily just about us keeping people out of Durango, but getting them here to this area altogether. There's a win-win for everybody if we can all see the value, make efforts to kind of highlight the beauty of this community. It's amazing. Anything we can do to enhance the quality of life for the citizens here will only improve the experience for those visiting the community. Look around. It's a beautiful place to live, and I think once people get here and they spend the night, they're going to spend some money and they're going to tell their friends. They're going to come back too. So tourism and getting people here to enjoy the beauties. Goals.
Jill, what kind of economic development would you like to see?
I think in order to keep this community growing, we have to sustain existing businesses and foster their growth, as well as provide opportunities for new entrepreneurship. I think that we have a lot of agencies that we can partner with. There's a lot of resources that are currently not being utilized that we could utilize, partnering with Region 9, the skate program over in Durango, Makeda, and so my personal thing as a small business owner who opened my shop by myself, I think there's a lot of people who have a vision, but they don't know how to get there. I would like to see the city implement some programs either through the library or even through the city hall that would provide an outlet for these people, some resources for them to be able to develop their ideas and hopefully open and continue to grow the town. Also, I'm very excited about the expansion of the Central Business District with the new businesses. I think we have room to grow, and so I think we should continue to look for that.
Gary?
I think, you know, if there's a chance for the new businesses coming in to have incentives to come here, you know, whether that's through the city, through the county, or however it is, but have them something, if they come here and they bring their business, that they know they're going to have some help for the first few years. And the businesses that are already here, you know, help get them out there as well. I think necessarily putting Cortez on the map, so to speak. We're on the map. I mean, Mesa Verde is 10 miles away. People know kind of where we are, but they know Mesa Verde more than they know Cortez. So if we can get Cortez, the name and the city out there, and then people can realize what a great place it is, I think that would do a lot of help. And then, you know, we can just grow from there. People can, like they say, stay here, spend money, and tell their friends. And you know, we got Phil's World right out there. You know, that's top of the line bike track. We got a lot of things around here. It's just a matter of letting people know that we're here, that we have these things, and come and check it out and come try them.
We need to take advantage of our community, and as far as economic development, we have some very talented people, some very intelligent people that have moved here from all over the world. And we need to get with them, and we need to speak with them, and we need to see what they need and what they want to attract more people to this area. We need to work with Makeda and Region 9 to attract clean businesses to this area, clean, high-paying businesses. Whether it's through the broadband, of course, is a big step, but we also need to make sure that these businesses realize what a talent pool actually is here in Cortez. It's very important that we get that across to the businesses that want to come into town. Thank you.
Okay, let's see, for economic development, I do think that it's very important to attract new businesses here. Think about one of the reasons that I moved here is because of the outdoor recreation that we have, so definitely have to emphasize that. Big opportunity that we have here as opposed to like the Front Range is our low cost of living. Housing costs in the Front Range are out of control. So one way we can bring people here is to look at our you know, we have this great environment here and we do have affordable living. Another thing that I think we need to do is really look at providing an educated and well-trained workforce. We have a great community college there, and I think working with that to develop more programs that will be applicable to businesses moving into town. You know, modern infrastructure is huge. And, you know, if I go way out on a limb here, I'd like to see looking into development of medical marijuana applications. And that's something that's new, and that's something that we can really work on here. So, thank you.
Orly?
The economic development for the future, I'd like to see see we can still bring in new businesses, like it was mentioned, downtown businesses. But I still like to keep supporting the existing businesses that are here, because that's what got Cortez started. And it's the big businesses come in that, you know, like, not against Walmart or anything, they pay good sales tax. But the big businesses that come in, the big box stores, I like to keep these small businesses. That's what, like I said before, that's what makes the community grow. And thank you.
Sue, what kind of economic development would you like to see?
I would like to see more businesses brought in. But I agree with Orly that we really want to take care of the businesses that we have here and try and make it a little easier on them in some ways so that they can prosper and continue to grow. And I'd have to think more about it.
You had yours. Right. You were the first one.
Do we get more points if we answer it twice?
Well, I guess that may depend on whether your answer is different. Okay. Moving along. Here's a question that is fairly simple. How do you feel about the extension of the city sales tax to help the rec center?
One of the greatest things Cortez has going for it is its park systems, and the rec center is such an amazing addition. I can't see not supporting exercise and health in our community. It's to me a no-brainer. The community gets to take care of itself by being active and physical. whether we're using it or not, it's going to benefit the youth. It's going to benefit. I get over there and see everybody's represented there. I don't think anybody's priced out of it. It maybe could be more accessible. I know working over at the Pinion Project, we send clients over there to de-stress, to take care of themselves. It's self-care. In a community that knows the poverty that we know, everybody needs some self-care. And the rec center's a perfect place to do that. So support it.
Okay.
Being a child who grew up here, I remember the rec center coming up as an initiative on the ballot, I think 2 or 3 times before it finally passed. And when it passed, it was really a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful facility, and I think we would be very remiss if we allowed to fall into disrepair. I understand people are sometimes reticent to pay taxes, but as of right now, they're already being paid. This is going to not be a noticeable effect, and this is just an extension of the tax, and it's actually a decrease. And so I think that it's, even if you are opposed to taxation, it is part of government, and it's something that needs to be, in my opinion, continued with that reduction, because we have a state-of-the-art facility, and it does provide a lot of benefit to our children. My son participated in the Pee Wee Rec basketball. It's a great program. I think it would be a shame if we did not continue to support it and sustain it.
Gary?
Well, I voted today. As you can see, I wear my badge proudly, and I voted for it. I mean, you know, I don't go there a lot, not as much as I should. We do have an annual pass, so I'm kind of wasting it away sometimes. But I like to know that it's there, that I can go to it if need be. You know, there's kids from 1 to kids that are 101. You know, everybody can use it, no matter what your age is or what you want to do, what you need to do. You can all get something out of it. It's definitely, it would be sad to see it go. So, long story short, I voted yes.
Lance?
I also support the rec center question on the ballot. The rec center is a crown jewel in our community. The people that use it benefit from it. The kids, the students, the people in their working years and people in retirement. It's used by everybody in this town. It should be used by everybody in this town, but it doesn't live by itself. So we do need to pay for, like I think we're paying for new air conditioning this summer for the rec center, and it needs to be sustained. And I support it completely.
John?
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The rec center is a huge asset to the community. And yeah, I remember when it was passed and when it's built, and it really is something that we should be proud of and support it 100%. I've used it, and I know, yeah, it's a big thing for our community. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
The way I look at it is the reduction of the sales tax is good to continue on, because there's a lot of employment in there, and it's a nice building. And the reason I'm for it myself is the continuation on it, because if it doesn't, not a threat or anything here, it doesn't continue through, the rates are going to go up. That's the only way that rec center can stay open. And the way the people are using it right now, it's a real useful, it's from, like Gary was saying, from 0 to 120. You know what I mean? And that's what it's for. It's a good recreational. Like I said, I guess I should make a habit of going there myself, because you can see how out of shape I am, but I support it.
Sue?
My grandchildren use the rec center frequently, almost every day. So it would be very hard for me to sit here and say, no, we can't support that. I do remember when it was built that there was a lot of conflict in different ways, and it was assured that it would be paid off by 2021, I believe, and then we would be without the tax. But the rec center, I feel we are lowering the tax some with this, but we're also employing people there too. And so there are jobs in there. And I think we need to look at the full aspect and say, okay, I guess I'm done.
You had 15 seconds. Mike?
I'm 100% for the rec center. I've been working to educate people in the community to support the rec center ballot, and there's so many things to say for the rec center. It increases health in the community. It gives jobs to people. When real estate agents show people around the city, they drive them by the rec center and show them this crown jewel, like he said, it's just so many things that are positive about this. It does provide jobs, and it's if we don't extend and decrease this tax, the price will go up for admission. And we need to keep the rec center affordable for everyone, no matter what their economic situation is. Thank you.
Okay. You're next. Yeah, you're next. Right. What do you see as the city's strengths and weaknesses, things that could be improved?
Okay. I think, I'll start with weaknesses, and then we'll end on a high note. I think as far as weaknesses, there is, in my opinion, some reluctance to progress and to grow. It's no question that there are some families that have been here for many years, and they say, well, that's not how things have been done. And I understand and I respect that. However, we have new people to this community, we have new businesses to this community, and like it or not, time moves on. So I think we need to really be encouraging development, encouraging progression, while still understanding and respecting the traditions that are here. Now, with regards to the strengths, I think our tradition is one of our things that is very strong. When I go into a building and I see the City of Cortez logo from 1986, I remember that. I identify with that. I grew up here. When I see the hospital growing, that's been there my entire life where I was born, it's growing. We are moving forward. And so as we continue to develop, thank you.
I think some of our weaknesses are, the drug situation. It affects a lot of us, and if it doesn't affect us directly, we probably know somebody that it affects them. I think that's one of our weaknesses. I think, getting the employment number up, making sure that we can employ as many people as possible, is kind of low, so we need to work on that. One thing is, I know that we have a lot of homeless, a lot of transients that are stuck out there. We need to be able to help them out too. See what's going on there. I think our strength, one is our community. People here from Cortez like to stick together. They're like they're cousins. I think that's one of our strengths, and our geography, like I've said before, is one of our big strengths. I mean, we got a lot to draw from here that's already here. So I think that's another big strength. So I'll leave it at that.
Thanks.
I agree with a lot of what Jill and Gary have said, that the strength that Cortez has is where we're located. We're located in a beautiful part of the country. We're right on the edge of the mountains. We're part of the desert. We're close to so many archaeological sites. We have a national park within 10 miles. We have a great downtown. We really do, and we need to enforce that and to encourage that. And our weaknesses, I believe our weaknesses are lack of communication, maybe a little lack of civility, maybe a little misunderstanding, maybe a little of understanding of what other people think, communicating with others, reaching out to people with different viewpoints, and speaking with them and trying to get there. And I'm about to get shut off, so thank you very much.
Okay. Strengths in this city, we do have a great community that's, moving here, felt at home immediately. We have a wonderful location, that brings a lot of people here, brings a lot of tourists through town. And then, we do have a great new high school. I see that as a real asset to our community also. Although I do hope that we can continue to improve education, I think that's very important and an area where we can improve. And acceptance, you know, with diversity, that's something that I think we really need to improve too. I have unfortunately seen a lot of issues with that, and yeah, I think that's a great area where we could improve.
Orly?
Thumbs up.
I'd look at the community, the strength of this community that I see as everybody's trying to work together, because I try to do a lot of volunteering and everything, and I work with a lot of people, and I try to work with people, and everybody's trying to work together, and I think towards that strength is where it is, Cortez, trying to work together. And working with the community, like I said, city and the county, you know, that'd be a good strength to build on. And also what I see on the weakness that we think we have is something that it's worldwide, probably it's just drugs, and one thing I like to see in this city is also a detox center, and work with the community, even with the tribe, everybody join together and see if we can make a detox center. And I think that would be one of the weaknesses we see that we can make a strength. Thank you.
Sue?
Okay, I think one of the strengths that we have with Cortez is that the people make the community, but the community is strong in the respect that you still feel safe in Cortez. Even though we have a few things here and there, basically our town is still safe. We have some gorgeous parks, probably the best out of any city I've ever been to. I think that draws people in. The weaknesses, substance abuse, like I said, we have the problem with juveniles. What do you do with the problem juvenile? So somewhere along the line, we're going to have to address getting help for getting these people a place to stay when we have them in custody.
City strength, obviously it's the people. You know, I've never been in a community that's so friendly and so helpful. If someone with low income has an accident or needs a operation, the people in town have a potluck for them, and they host a dinner for them to raise money. And it's just such a warm feeling. And the geography of this area is so beautiful. The mountains and the deserts and the archaeological areas and the downtown Sunflower Theater and the thriving scenes. Weakness is, one of the problems is the school. We just don't pay our teachers enough. We have a beautiful school, and we need to educate people to bring more teachers in this area and give them better pay. And we have to work on the homeless people, but we're doing a homeless shelter on that. So thank you.
A strength-based approach, we get to focus on what's working best, and this isolation that we experience down here, I think it works to our benefit. We've got a beautiful landscape, access to public lands, the park systems are amazing, so focusing on those positives first, we'll see us benefiting from them more. I'm agreeing with there's a lot of talk about how we get new businesses here, how we get more tax revenue and jobs. People that are coming here have children, and they want to make sure that their children are educated. And if we can't assure our classrooms being staffed with quality teachers that are going to stay here for the long term instead of leaving after a year or two, we're going to struggle. So education has got to be a priority for us in this community if we're going to thrive. Thank you.
Okay. Gary, let's start with you on this question. No, Jill. Jill answered. Yeah, we're all getting confused. You are all very busy people, it sounds like. So someone wants to know, are you able to make the commitment time commitment necessary to serve on council?
Yes, thank you. You know, and I thought about that. It was something that, you know, my wife and I talked about, because like I said, our daughter is 7, she's getting into more sports and more things. We love going to the lake in the summertime. You know, we like being active and doing things. But, you know, in talking about it, I felt that it was important to do it. So it's important enough to take the time out to make the commitment to do it. If I didn't feel I could do it, I wouldn't be up here. I would leave it to everyone else. But if you're going to play the part, you got to be the part. And so yeah, I took it into consideration, but in the end, I knew that it was worth it. My time here, I'm not on this earth very long, so I'll take a little bit of that time, and if I can give to the community, great. So yeah, I got it.
I'm retired, so I have nothing but time. And I enjoy it immensely. But yes, I'm very definitely have the time to commit to serving on the city council. In fact, I look forward to, if being elected, to attending the different meetings that the city councilmen or city council representatives are required to attend. The different organizations around town, the cultural center meetings, the CADA meetings, the District 9 meetings, the different meetings that the councilmen gosh, I'm sorry, Jill, I'm sorry, Sue, the council people are required to attend. So yes, I do have the time. Thank you.
Yes, that is something that I thought about as well before deciding to run. And I can say recently I was offered a job that I turned down just in case I was elected, because it is something that is important to me. Yeah, I see, the time spent in public service is a great investment of that time, and something, if it benefits the community, benefits us all. Yeah, willing to make whatever time sacrifices are needed. And I'll keep it brief.
Give it a kiss, but short and sweet. The way I look at it is the time commitment. I have proven that I'm willing to spend time and support the city. And if I get reelected or whatever, in anything that I do, I give it 110%. Thank you.
Sue?
I have no problem with the time commitment. I will commit to it. I'm retired, but I am at this point in time the learning coach for my grandchildren, because we're doing online classes. And one of them is doing competition dance and the other one's into baseball. So I stay busy, but I always will have time for the city.
I'm retired, and I have an overall passion to serve the city and county. It's just my drive right now. Some people, when they retire, go RVing or just sit on the rocking chair, but my goal is to be totally involved in the city and the community. This is a beautiful city to live, and I can't imagine another better job than working for the city. Thank you.
My son does think I'm a little bit crazy. And it's a busy schedule with a couple growing boys. I anticipate having an opportunity to say no to certain things and really make this position a priority. And I'm motivated in that I know that I'm going to be learning, and that's going to fulfill me in a way that nothing else can. So I'm excited and committed to be able to make this a priority. So yes, the time will be there.
Joe?
This is a matter of prioritization. At the end of the day, this is a job. We are paid for this position if we're elected. It's a small stipend, but we have a duty to the citizens, and I will tell you, I am incredibly, insanely busy, and mostly it's my own fault. However, I would say that my commitment for the month to city council is far less than a lot of people spend watching television during the week. So I feel like it's something that I can manage.
Pardon my absence.
Okay. Number of you have mentioned broadband. What should the city's role be in providing broadband service to all of the city or making it available?
I believe the city should treat broadband as a public utility. I think we should not develop our broadband services and then sell the rights to someone that's going to make a profit. The city can build the network, charge the customers what it costs to run, and not need to make a profit. They just need to pay for the infrastructure and the maintenance of the lines. So that's how I feel about that's how I think the city should treat the broadband. Thank you.
I agree, seeing it as a utility. If we make that investment, then that's the best way for the city to administer it. City of Fort Collins has just done the same thing. Again, yeah, why should we develop it to have somebody else make some money off of it? I know it is a cost, but to keep it affordable, to keep it accessible to everybody in the community, using it as a utility, viewing it that way is really the most helpful thing for us. That's all I have to say on that.
Orly, what role should the city play?
Sorry.
What role should the city play?
The way I look at it on broadband extensions and stuff, I would like to see, a feasibility study, see if the city should invest in it. Because it's a big commitment and a lot of taxpayers' money. And if I like to invest taxpayers' money, I want to make sure it's going to be a payback for the future for the citizens. But if it's the feasibility study shows that it can go, I'm for it.
Sue?
I really pretty much agree with Orly on this. I kind of feel like, if we can somehow make a go of it, then, and it's going to benefit people, that's fine. But just to add it on as another utility, I think we really need to consider the people that are already having trouble making their utility bills, paying what they have. Do we really want to give them another bill that they can't afford to pay? So keeping that in mind, I think that we really need to see what kind of surveys and stuff we come up with, and what's the chances of how much more grant systems and things like that.
I think we should look into the possibility of treating the broadband as a utility. Maybe the city could consider being an ISP provider. We could institute a pilot program in the city, just hook up several areas and just do a study, and see how it works, see if there's problems, see if there's benefits for it. And I think it would lower the costs for broadband and internet if the city moderates it rather than going through a private company who can raise the rates as much as they want, but the city would be held accountable if the rates go up too high. So I think we have to treat it in that way, like we regulate the water. We don't own the water, but we regulate the water. We provide it to the citizens. That's my idea.
Jeff?
It's a very complicated issue. I think it's a regional issue. I don't know that it's going to serve the citizens of Cortez to think about doing it alone. And I wonder if there's potential for the city to partner with others that are affected in the region that can benefit from this service. Treating it like a utility may make sense. Again, if we can't assure education for our children that is so dependent on this technology, and or if we can't draw businesses in with this technology, we are going to continue to have an uphill battle. In public relations as well. I mean, we get to convince the citizens of the value and the importance of this this technology as well. So we become educators in that regard. So thank you.
Jill, what do you think the city's role should be?
For the younger citizens of Cortez, internet is integral. They have to have it. They have to have it for school. My son doesn't even know how to stamp and address an envelope, but he knows how to send an email. They are completely dependent on it, and the reality is some of those impoverished people already are having to pay high bills. They're contracted with companies, and my concern always was if we installed the fiber and opened it up to the open market, that there would be the potential of collusion or price gouging. That is so counterintuitive to what the fiber should provide. So I am in favor of the city doing it, and honestly, if you had thought 10 years ago that City of Cortez would be able to provide internet services as a provider, no one would have believed it. It's here, it's a reality, and it's actually very exciting. So I'm totally in favor of the city opening up as an ISP and providing fixed rates on internet pricing for people so that it's accessible to everyone in this community.
Gary?
All right, I'll be honest, I do not know all their ins and outs of the broadband. I know wanting to bring it here and whatnot, and who's going to do it and who isn't. I do know that as long as it's something that is, like Orly said, it's feasible, then I do think that if the city is going to do it on their own, then they should run it themselves. I also agree, you don't just build something, give it to somebody else, okay? But, I know that we're also making leaps and bounds and improvement in electronics, and that sign's throwing me off, you're turning it around. No, I think that, we do need to always continue to grow, and the city just has to always keep the city in mind, and whatever options they take with it. So I think that's something that the future city council will have to address and take care of, and have faith in all of them.
Lance?
I started that question.
Oh, okay.
I'd be glad to talk more about it if you'd like me to, though.
Do you have something different to say? Okay.
How many more you got in?
Not a whole lot more. You get Nancy? Yes, if you have cards, please turn them in. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's, this is a simple question. What experience do you have reviewing budgets for organizations?
My experience with reviewing budgets largely comes from working for contract archaeologists, where we would prepare bids, after reviewing a project, preparing our bids, and trying to stay on budget throughout a project. Currently, in my position, prepare, again, estimates for the projects that I'm going to be working on, and making sure that I stay on my budget. With my education at CSU with the construction management program, a huge portion of that, it was on project management, making sure that you could evaluate your project's progress and make sure that you're staying on task and on target and on budget.
Orly,
What was the question?
what experience do you have reviewing budgets?
I wrote it right then. The experience I got in budget, like I said, in the past 4 years, I've worked with the city budget, and I'm real familiar with it. In the past, I've served on the council before, and I've already been familiar with the budget, and also got a lot of experience from different budgets, because there are different budgets out there, and the different boards I've served in the past and the present. So, thank you.
Sue?
Okay, I don't have an awful lot of experience. I have some from when I was on the police department as a supervisor. That was part of us being a supervisor, is we had to help out with the budget. And then my final couple of years working for them, I was on the drug task force as the director. So I had my own budget I had to deal with. And so I think I have a pretty good idea how they work.
See, I'm on several boards, the Good Samaritan Center, the Methodist Church in Mancos, and the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. So all the time we're involved with budget deciding and prices that go up and down, so I'm well aware that we have to watch our prices and watch our costs and how much money is coming in. I've had a lifetime of experience of earning income and figured out a budget, 70-some years of doing that, and I know that you can't spend more than you earn. That's a basic thing.
You already stated that I've been in education for 20-plus years, so I know what it means to get by with a little. I want to use it as a metaphor, I guess, my experience in restaurants growing up, those years of needing to make sure we're not losing money by putting more out there than we were bringing in. So I just finished up a master's degree in policy study and leadership. I feel like I'm in a position and schooled in being able to scrutinize documents and giving full attention and seeing it as a collaborative process. It's not something I decide on independently, but it involves a lot of complicated conversations. So, thank you.
Jill?
For the past 2 years, I've been a participant of the city's budgeting process by virtue of being council member. So I feel like I've gotten a fair amount of experience in the city realm. Prior to that, like I said, I'm a small business owner. I am a one-woman show, so I have to budget my own monies and make sure I have monies to pay for my insurance and my employees. And then prior to that, I also, like I said, I worked for the Mountain Ute Tribe, and we did a fair amount of budgeting. We did quarterly budget meetings out there, and I engaged in that as well.
Gary?
I'm the same as 90% of everybody else and live on a budget. All right, my budget is a lot smaller than the city of Cortez's budget, so I do not have experience on a size of a budget like that. But what I do know is addition and subtraction, and I do have common sense. I know if you have $10, you can't spend $12. If you have 50 million, you can't spend 55 million. So I know there's a lot of gray areas in there in between that, but I think that, when you understand that you can't spend more than you make, you just can't. That's just it. And so, you got to budget it out. You got to give it to where you can and take where you can and give to who needs it and who can share it. It's just all give and take. We're all in it for the same thing.
The last 20 years of my working career, I managed a trucking company that transported petroleum products throughout Arizona, California, Nevada, Texas, New Mexico, Utah. And we had 75 trucks. We had 100 drivers. We bought new equipment. We set rates. We set wages for the drivers. And all that involves working with a budget. You have to budget for future equipment purchases. You have to budget for future employment opportunities or for future needed employment. You have to set your rates that you're charging your customers to cover your costs and make a profit. And we made a good profit. And that's my experience with budget. Other than and like everybody else, I do know you can't spend more than you have to spend. So, thank you.
I started that one.
Okay. Orly's next then. This question has a long introduction before the questions, so let me read it. We need look no further than this week's Ag Expo to see the importance of agriculture in our local economy. Yet food insecurity is a persistent problem. 60% of our children qualify for free or reduced lunches. That's 18% higher than the state number. What will you do as a city councilor to help these children become food secure?
You said the question. I can write that much.
Yeah, and you may want to pass it along. I guess one of the questions is, does the city have a responsibility in this area, and if so, what is it?
The responsibility on the children, is that what the question's trying to say?
Well, for the children having food, I think, being food secure.
The responsibility, like I said, the city, you know, everything, every year there's budgeted for like grants, for the whatever committees are out there, groups, nonprofits and everything that can come and ask for some money, fill out an application and everything for the money on that. But then that's where the city can help with something like being a project and all these other projects that's out there. That's the only way I can see that the city can help with their donations part. But I don't think we can take every child in there and take them under our wing. But if we can help the committees out there and help them improve, it'd be a great help, I would say. Thank you.
I would agree that we definitely, you know, this is a big concern. We want our kids to eat. And I think that we definitely need to try with some of the nonprofits to help them. But I also feel that if we could somehow boost our economy with more jobs and get more people working, our children are going to be better fed.
Food insecurity is a big problem in Cortez and Montezuma County. As a volunteer at the Good Samaritan Center, I see people come in all the time. They get food stamps, but there's not enough money to go around. They come to the Good Samaritan Center, and they're really hurting for food. And we provide what we can, but we need to recognize that people are going hungry out there, folks. One of the things we can do as a city is to promote the community gardens. We have an excellent program at the rec center. We've expanded the community gardens area, and we're getting grants from different entities like Empire Electric and Tri-State and local areas to provide gardens for people, and people can sign up to operate these gardens themselves, and it's really going to help the kids to have enough food, fresh produce, and let them learn how to grow their own food. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, I think education again plays a critical role, supporting children in an awareness of what healthy eating looks like. The School to Farm program is already in place in many of our elementary schools, teaching those basic skills. City representation and support of those programs, like School to Farm. Food Matters or Cooking Matters is another program that's offered through the Pinion Project. So I know there's initiatives in the community that we can do more to support. I also think that there's another opportunity for supporting tourism in the area by highlighting what's happening in the community. Small farms are popping up and they're doing well. The farmers market is something that can be promoted on a major scale. It really goes a long ways to support the culture in the community that values healthy eating and diet. So, thank you.
Jill?
I think there's been a pretty concerted effort in the past at least 8 years to improve food in the school systems and to continue to purchase locally grown produce and locally raised meat. I think we can continue to support the school programs. along with what Jeff was saying as far as local initiatives, the city does have a grant program that local nonprofits are able to submit requests to, and I know the city has funded some of those to continue to support those endeavors. And we have the Good Samaritan Food Pantry has just moved. It's getting high profile. It's next to the Montessori school. And I know the city's in support of that. I think we continue drawing people's attention to the fact that these programs exist and there are options for them besides just letting their children go to school hungry.
Gary.
I agree with a lot of everyone up here. You know, I think that sometimes communication breaks down and people don't know where to get food or where to go and what to do. You know, I think that would play a part if we could get people, you know, to know where they can go, what they can do, things like that. You know, education in school, you know, as far as, you know, at my house, we have 2 different gardens. I'm not good at it, but we have them, okay? So, you know, when we get these kids, maybe they can go home to their parents and show them, you know, what they learned. They can learn to grow something and they, you know, start at the kids and, you know, soon enough, everybody's going to know what to do. I think and part of this is not only just eating healthy, but just eating in general. You know, a lot of kids just don't have anything to eat, and I know that's very important. You know, and so that's, you know, the programs that are in place, you know, for free and reduced lunches really do help out. I know they're serving breakfast at a lot of the schools too, which plays a big role as well.
Lance?
We have to, or we should, partner with the schools in their school farms. I know all the elementary schools have their own little farms, and at the middle school you can see, you drive by and you see the farms. Also the rec center and the community gardens. Maybe we need to think out of the box and prep some of our vacant land, the city's vacant land, for community gardens. And maybe we should have more classes teaching people what to grow, how to grow, and seasons to grow. And I also know there are entities that have made presentations to the council about making some inside gardens in some of the vacant buildings, and maybe we need to explore that some more and ideas like that, but we need to think outside the box. I mean, grants are great, grants accomplish a lot, but they don't solve every problem, so I think we need to look. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, this is a great question. And I know hungry students have a very difficult time learning. Yeah, can't pay attention in class if your stomach is growling. I would think that, yeah, the farm to school projects are very important. Looking at partnerships with the Department of Agriculture. I agree, community gardens are something that, you know, we do have a lot of land. If we can use that to increase our food supply for the schools, and thinking that education, working with parents and students, as far as looking at the nutritional value of food, so that with any kind of assistance that they have, making sure that they're making the most value of that. In brief, yeah, I guess that's it. So, thanks.
You want me to do it again?
He started it.
I'm sorry. Yes, and I made a note that Sue's supposed to be next. Sorry. Okay. Sue, describe your vision of what you would like to see the city look like in 5 years.
What it would look like?
Well, be like or look like, or both.
I would like to see the city grow some, simply because we will be able to get additional jobs in that way. But I'd still like to have the small town feeling that it has. I want this community to be nice enough that our kids, when they go to school, they can't wait, when they get out of college, that they can't wait to come back home and get a job in Cortez. Our future generation is what's going to keep Cortez alive. I guess I'm done.
No, you have 30 seconds, I think.
Oh. I do believe in our future generation, and I do believe that the more we can do now to help them, the better Cortez it will be. So, I'm done.
In 5 years, I see great things for the city of Cortez. It's going to grow, it's going to thrive, it's going to prosper. There's going to be broadband, there's going to be internet, there's going to be engaged people. It's going to be a great place to live. There's tourism, there's so many places to go. I'm going to stay here forever, and I can't imagine why anybody else wouldn't want to live here forever. That's all I got to say.
How about a magnet community that draws families in because there's a quality of life that they just can't imagine being without? A system, an educational system that supports the whole child. How about mental health and awareness of the need for mental health support and housing for everybody. We've talked a lot about the affordable, how affordable it gets to be. I see clean air, good use of water, a sustainable example of what a community can look like. This is an idealism that will take a lot of work, but it's all very possible. So, thank you.
Jill, what's your vision?
I would like to see active engagement of the 21 to 35 demographic in economic and government sectors. I would like to see developed lots. We have a lot of empty lots. To draw those families, like Jeff had said, we need to provide some affordable housing. We need to repair existing buildings that are in disrepair, and I would love to see every empty storefront down Main Street with a business inside of it.
She took my answer.
Thanks, Joe.
I'd like to see Cortez as a fully restored and upgraded 1957 Chevy Bel Air. Okay, well, like Jill had said earlier, you keep the core values while integrating the new age stuff, And if you have a town that has its core values still in place, which made Cortez, but then you're able to bring in the new things, bring it today's technology, things of the such, and then people are going to want to come see it. I like to go look at shiny cars too, shiny old cars. So if you got a town that looks beautiful and is great and is thriving, people are going to want to come see it. They're going to come visit it. They're going to see what it looks like, what it sounds like, what's going on, what's going to be next. So I just wanted to keep its core value and just grow and go into the future.
Well, I'd prefer a 1956 F-150, but other than that, I would like to see, in 5 years, I'd like Cortez to be a sustainable community. I'd like us to rely on alternate energy, solar, wind, whatever we can come up with. I'd like to see the local people, the local community members driving electric cars up and down Main Street and to their jobs in town. That's what I'd like to see. I might be dreaming more than 5 years in the future, but that's my goal. But I would like to see us with clean air, clean water, and no plastic trash bags on every fence post in this town.
Lance took my answer. 5 years, City of Cortez. I think seeing a thriving downtown is essential. A diverse economy that relies or doesn't rely on just one source of revenue, and a diverse community. Along with that, moving towards the future, modernizing, but again retaining that rural feel is huge. One thing that's important for me, maintaining our night skies. Living downtown, I love the fact that I can see the Milky Way. I want to protect that. Having a thriving economy and a community that everybody belongs in. So I guess that's it.
Orla?
My turn. What I like to see in the future is I wanted the next 5 years to make sure it's a safe place. It's so people can live, and people would like to come and visit. It's not I shouldn't use the words I was going to use, but I just wanted a safe place, and built up a little more of downtown Cortez, and like the market and Chestnut, those blocks that we have north and south of there, built up a business into those areas also. And I think the more the community works together, I think it'd be a safer place too. Thank you.
Okay. Mike, you get to be first in answering the last question, or it's not exactly a question, but we'd like each of you to tell us why we should vote for you instead of somebody else.
Thank you.
And you have 1 minute.
1 minute, okay. I'll try to keep it short. I've had a lot of experience in so many different areas in Cortez. I've been in so many different committees and nonprofits and community groups. I feel for Cortez. I see visions for Cortez. I think it's a great place to live. I think I could put 110%, 100% at least, into what I'm doing for the city council. I'm really involved. I go to all the meetings of the city council. I attend the county commissioner's office to see how the entities work together. And I'm ready and willing and able from day one. Thank you.
Jeff, why should we vote for you?
Because I'm creative, because I'm positive, because I'm curious. I'm gonna ask a lot of questions. If I don't understand something, I'm gonna ask. And when needing to, I'll listen too. I'm a qualified listener. You can vote for me because I'm asking for your support, and I'm excited. So thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Joe?
I think everyone's a qualified candidate, and I would just ask you to vote for me if you feel like I am one of the better options. And if you're not, I'm not going to be offended because I do a ton of things in the community, and if I don't get elected, I'll still be active. Thank you.
Gary, why should we vote for you?
You know, I'm a Cortez boy at heart, born and raised here. So, you know, I've got the Cortez best interest. I've got a 7-year-old daughter. I got a beautiful wife. I got a lot of family and friends here. And I'm going to do everything I can to make this a great place for all of them. And you just have to trust me that I'm going to do the best I can. I mean, you might not know me from Adam, but, you know, you got to put your faith in what you think the candidate can and can't do. So I guess that'd be a good reason. I mean, I'm just have faith.
I'm with Jill, and I think everybody up here is very qualified. But I'm a good listener, and I love speaking with people, and I love listening to hear, not listening to answer. And I would definitely make myself available at least once a month out in public, meeting with people. I would publish my email. You could have my phone number. If you have issues, you can call me. Like I say, I am retired, so I have plenty of time. And I love the community, and I love interaction with people, and I love interaction with the students. I love interaction with every generation that we have in town. So I think that's why I would vote for me. Plus, I'm handsome. Okay, it wasn't that funny.
All right. You know, actually, for me, that's a difficult question because I do have so much respect for so many of the other candidates here. I can say one thing that I do bring, you know, my perspective and my vision, and you know, just thinking that you know, I haven't really been campaigning as much as I know I should have, but for years I've been talking to my neighbors, talking to everybody in town, and really getting a good feel for what's going on. And that's something that, you know, I want to continue to do and bring to the city council. I think we've got, you know, City of Cortez is really fantastic. We've got a lot going on, and I want to keep that momentum going. So, thanks.
Orly, why should we elect you?
Because you want to. No, when I look at it, we've got a good turnout here for candidates, and I'm real happy to see that many people get interested in the community and the city. But also, I want to thank everybody that participates and everybody listening to me. But one thing I would say, I'm the voice for the community, for the citizens of it. And that when I hear the voice from people talking to me, that's what I bring to council. I mean, that's the only thing I can get things rolling on it. And like I said, thanks, and I'm living the dream.
Sue, why should we vote for you?
I feel that I might be able to make a difference. I will work hard. I'm honest. I also am a voice for the people. I love to talk to people. And I'm more than willing to listen to their problems. And I'm proud of Cortez. I want to make it a better place. And I would definitely like to see a few things, you know, materialize during the next 4 years.
Okay.
I'm done.
I want to thank everybody in the audience for coming. As somebody said, there are many other things to do, and you took time out to come and learn something about the candidates. That's a very important thing in terms of our civic responsibilities. And I also want to thank all of the candidates for being here and for being willing to put yourselves out and let us have a look at you, find out about you, and being willing to run. We really appreciate that. I know there have been times, I can't remember Cortez having an election when there weren't candidates enough to fill the seats, but there certainly have been other towns. Yeah. So this is wonderful that there are this many people who are willing to do that. So I think, whether you win or lose, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
And if anybody in the audience wants to talk to any of these candidates, I'm sure you can meet with them.
No more
now.
questions.
This is just a fight they played on us, huh? Did your pen work? Yes. My pen broken.
Thank you so much for
Oh, you're
moderating
welcome.
this
You're welcome.
great organization.
Very interesting.